Plungers, congratulations on your new fire cold plunge. If you're watching this video, then you have scanned the QR code on the top of the lid. Congratulations. And now you're wondering, how do I set it up and maintain it? Probably a lot of other questions. I'm going to go over all those for you here in this video. So the first thing I'm going to do, if you haven't already, is we're going to take off any of the packaging, okay? Boom! And it's done. Recycle that bad boy. Now let's get to work. So the first thing you're going to see here is your user manual. That's taped right on top. Okay, you're going to want to take that off. It's just on there with some double-sided tape. This has everything that you need to know about your plunge. But we'll be covering that in this video. So, let's get started. Come take a look and see what's inside. When you open it up, some things you're going to notice that are packed in here. You have your pump, filter, and sanitation system. Okay, so you're going to want to unpack that. And this is going to sit right in the corner and adhere to the wall. And it suction cups to the wall much better when it is submerged. You recycle that. The next thing you're going to see, if you ordered one, is a submersible back pillow. This is going to go right over the edge. If you didn't order one, that's okay. You can find that in our accessories page online. You'll also find your Fire Cold Plunge care package. What's inside of here? Let's find out. Boom! So, inside of your package, here's what you're going to have. A couple things. I'm going to run through each one and tell you what it's for. What is this? This is an extra vinyl patch repair kit. What happens if your kid comes on his tricycle and dings it? You've got this right here. So if you get a ding or a nick, you're going to take your vinyl patch repair kit and you'll want to cut the appropriate size to cover the area that you need to patch. Then you'll want to line it up with the vinyl, with the grain, and lay it on flat to make sure you get out all the air bubbles. So that's the first thing. The next thing is a skimmer. This skimmer is what you are going to use after each time you plunge. Okay? The purpose of this is to get out any larger sediments, grass, dirt, skin, hair, debris, whatever you might be tracking in and out of your fire cold plunge. And you can do that just by going back and forth in the water in your cold plunge and get anything out, and then you can just shake it out. Now, also, if you're having some heavy usage, it can occur that you can have heavier grains of sand or dirt settle to the bottom. Rather than waiting for your filter to get those, you can also just mix up the water and then it will be able to capture those a little bit better. Make sure to do this each time. Minute timer. It always helps to time yourself if you have goals, which if you're buying this, you probably do have goals. Oops. This is a towel hanger. You can put that here or on the wall, whatever's best for you. Little things you wouldn't think of. Extra filters. So while we have this, why don't I show you how you're going to change the filters. So every 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to want to clean your filters just with soap and hot water. And you're going to do that by snapping the filter cartridge right off the bottom of the pump. Super easy. Inside of the filter cartridge, you're going to open it up and you're going to see our filter material. That filter material can be pulled out and it looks just like this. You can clean that in the sink with hot water and soap, and then put it back in. And you want the blue, which is the coarse grain, facing outward. So it filters through the coarse grain first. Then these snap back together like Legos. It's super easy to see which side goes with which here. And then you're ready to go. But there's one more part of cleaning and maintaining your pump and filter that you need to do, and that is the top of the pump you're going to need to clean. Let me show you here. So you're going to take a flathead screwdriver and pull off the top of the pump, exposing that cavity there. And you're going to want to clean that out with water and a napkin and some hydrogen peroxide or some soap and water, whatever you use. You can put that back on or not, actually. If you leave it off, it's best. It'll get extra circulation. The next thing you're going to find is some very specific hydrogen peroxide. It says oral debriding agent safe. So this is hydrogen peroxide that doesn't have a lot of toxins or anything like that. So it's safe enough to put in your mouth and gargle with, so it's safe enough to go in your plunge. You're going to want to, once you fill it with water, you're going to want to add hydrogen peroxide as well. And you want to add probably 2 to 3 cups to a fresh new tub of water. And then you'll want to add about maybe a cup every 2 or 3 days to keep the hydrogen peroxide levels up. But rather than using a measurement, because there's so many variables, what I want you to do is use the hydrogen peroxide test strips that we send with you. So every order is going to come with these test strips, and it has a color gauge right here. You're going to simply take a test strip, dip it in the water after you've put in your hydrogen peroxide and given it a minute to mix up, right? And you can stir it too. Just put it in the water, and then you can pull it over here and put it next to the test strip. What you want to see is you want it to be blue, and the more blue, the better. You want to be at almost 100 parts per million. That's the darkest color that's there. I wouldn't worry about putting too much hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is an irritant to the skin and the eyes at 3%. This bottle itself that we send with you comes at 3%. So to put that in perspective, this bottle versus your entire cold plunge, you'd have to buy a lot of bottles. But that being said, you don't have to overdo it. It's kind of wasteful. It's not necessary. All you really need is 100 parts per million. And you'll be good. And that is for your sanitation. Also in this box, you'll find a small cardboard box and a wound up hose. This is your bilge pump. So this is how you're going to drain it. You're going to drain it probably every 1 to 3 months, depending on your maintenance practice and use. And the way that you'll do that, once you unwrap this, is you're going to take this nozzle here and screw it on to the end of your pump. And you're going to attach your hose to it. Once that's attached, to drain, you simply drop it in the tub and let it sink down to the bottom. Okay? And ours comes with suction cups, so it will stand there. Take your hose out to wherever you want it to drain, so you don't drain it right in the middle of your house or your garage. And then plug it in, and it will drain in about 20 minutes. You can use a small cup or a towel to get out any remaining bit of water that is left in there, if any. So, that's included as well. Now that we've gone through everything included in your care package, let's talk about the setup, the safety, the maintenance, and some of the common questions that are asked. So once it arrives, you'll notice there is a door that opens, so you will need 6 inches behind so that you can open the lid without banging into the wall or something like that. The first thing you're going to want to do once you've taken everything out is fill it up with water. The pump should not be run unless it is submerged. How much water do you put? You want to put about 3/4 to 1/3 of the way up the tub. So that would be about maybe right here. And then you can add or subtract from there. Ultimately, what you want to see is you want to see how much water your body is displacing. Once it's full of water, the next thing you're going to do is come over here to your control box. And all you have to do is set the time and the temperature. So the time is set inside the control box. Here you can see a timer. That is for your ozone. Your ozone will run in the night on a schedule, alternating on and off. But it needs to know when it's night. So you can change the time of day, which right now it's about noon. So I'm going to turn it to 12 p.m. And you can see light is day, dark is night. Once that's set to the correct time of day, let's say it's 2 o'clock, right? Then you're good. You can go ahead and close that back up. I should also show you. So everything in here is designed to be modular. So if you ever were to have an issue or need a replacement part, super easy. We send you a video of how to unplug this one and plug a new one in, as well as the part, free of charge, through your warranty. Now to set the time, what you're going to do is you're going to plug it in, and it's going to be plugged into our GFCI. And it also comes with a kill switch. This kill switch is what you're going to use every time you get in to do a plunge. This should run all the time, 24/7, except you turn it off when you're going to do a plunge. Then when you get out, you can turn it back on. You never have to unplug your plunge if you have this. This is a kill switch. This is a manual reset self-testing GFCI, the highest standard. Every single one is tested with the actual plunge that it's sent with. So very safe, maximum duplicate safety standards. We have surge protection, GFCI, and a kill switch. So that's what that looks like. Once it's on, I'm going to show you how to set your temperature. So once you've plugged it in, you want to hit the reset button for it to turn on. Then you'll want to see a green light to know that the power switch is switched to on as well. If you need to use an extension cord, make sure that it's a grounded 3-prong heavy-duty extension cord as well. And if you want even more safety measures, make sure that is plugged into a dedicated GFCI as well. Now, to set your temperature, this is your thermostat. Your thermostat has 4 numbers on it. The top number, the PV, your present value, is the present temperature of your water. That right now you can see is 73 degrees. The next one, your SV, that's your set value. That's the temperature you're going to set this thermostat to right now. That's what you want to change. These 2 numbers down here are ranges. You'll notice that they're 3 degrees above and below your set temperature. The way that our system works is there's an internal cooling system comprised of a compressor and coils that dissipates heat through the outside walls. This system cools down to your set temperature and then it turns off. Then, once the temperature of your water rises above a 3-degree range of your set temperature, it turns the compressor back on and cools back down. And it cycles on and off like that, naturally. So there's nothing that you need to do except set your temperature. And to set your temperature, you're going to hold the set button down for approximately 3 seconds until you hear a beep. Now you'll see the set value beeping, blinking. Now you can move down to your desired temperature. I wouldn't recommend going below 37. And then it's going to beep twice when you hold it for another approximate 30 seconds. Hold the set button down. If you push the set button, it will move you through different settings. And you may change other settings. But just hold it. There's the second beep. Now it's set. If you do accidentally change some of the other settings in there, which on the setup page, farther down the page, we have an advanced video on what all those settings are, how to set up Wi-Fi on your phone, and everything else you might need about this. But you can reset the thermostat by holding down all 3 buttons at the same time. The screen will go blank. All the buttons and lights will start flashing, and that means it's resetting to factory settings. So if you're getting any error codes, that's the first thing you should do. If you get an error code also that says ERR, that means that this temperature probe down here has become unplugged or partially unplugged. So all you need to do is plug that back in and really give it a good push and make sure that it's all the way plugged in. And that will get rid of the error code. And resetting usually gets rid of all the other error codes. If you want to set this up on your phone, you can look up the Elitech iCold app. iCold like iPhone, iCold. And you can simply put this into Wi-Fi mode by holding the, let's see here, down in the set button. Yep. Hold the down button and the set button until the little Wi-Fi icon starts working, and then you can set it up super easy on your phone. Then you can control the temperature from your phone. Great. Let's run through a couple other things. So everything leaves our warehouse after very rigorous quality control testing. We test every single component, every part. We stress test it. So there's nothing you need to do to test. But if you ever need to troubleshoot some things, there's a couple things you should know about the way that the system works. One, this pump down here is circulating water at 300 gallons an hour. You should feel a jet of water coming out of the nozzle. Two, this pump is pulling ozone from the ozone generator into the water and circulating it in order to sanitize the water as part of the sanitation and filtration system. It does so through this white air tube here. This air tube should be connected to this nozzle if you want to take a closer look of the pump. Here, sorry, I'll pull it out. This pump nozzle, this hose should be connected to it. So in case that ever comes disconnected, it simply pushes on and it holds with a little bit of pressure. Also, you'll notice a dial on the side. This opens and closes a hatch that controls the flow rate. That should always be set to plus and max so that you make sure that it's flowing properly. Because of the way that this cools by dissipating heat through the outside walls, you will feel the walls get warm or even hot to the touch. That is okay. That is perfectly normal for our system. We joke that it's the fire in the fire cold plunge. But you are the fire in the fire cold plunge. But you will feel it get hot when it's cooling. if that makes any sense. Your LED lights around the rim, the power button for those is on top of the control box, so you can turn them on and off anytime that you would like. If you ever accidentally change the settings for your ozone timer, what that looks like is you'll want it to run when you're not going to use it. That's the general guiding principle around this. Ozone is great at killing things, and it's therefore not good to breathe in. So it takes about 20 minutes to dissipate. It's in a totally enclosed container, and we cycle it on and off every 30 minutes so that it doesn't supersaturate the water, and very little, if any, ever escapes into a gaseous form. So that's why you can see here that every other button is raised or pressed down. If the button is down, that's when the timer is going to have the ozone on. If the button is up, that's when it will be off. So, if you ever bang this and knock them all down, you can raise up for when it's off and press it down for when it's going to be on. On the side of the timer, you will see a switch. It's already set by default when it leaves our warehouse to the schedule, the timer on. If you want to check that the ozone's working, simply switch that latch to outlet on, and it will turn the ozone on. You can hear the ozone turn on because you will hear a very faint, higher pitch hissing sound coming from the ozone vacuum tube. Let's go ahead and do it and see if you can hear. It may not be recognizable on this microphone because it's very faint. But you also can see in pitch black, dark, you can see a glowing coming from the vacuum tube. And that's also how you'll know. So in case anything ever gets unplugged, I want you to be aware of where everything goes. This is a surge protection strip, okay? And here, you'll see at the top a USB port. That is for your LED lights, okay? Your LED lights plugs in right here. If ever you should have an issue with your LED lights, it may be the LED lights, or it may be the USB port, in which case we would need to send you a different part. So you'll want to plug this into another power source, USB, and then check and see if the lights are coming on. And then you can isolate. This is your thermostat power cord. That's this right here. That should always be plugged in all the way. And then down below it, very hard to see, I've unplugged it right now, is your pump power. Okay, that should always be plugged in right in the middle. I've unplugged it because we don't have any water and it's not submerged. This here is your ozone. It plugs into the timer, and the timer plugs into the surge protector there. This over here is another outlet. You'll notice there are two labels, cooling and heating. The compressor plugs in here. So we control the temperature through the thermostat using the thermostat outlet. And the compressor plug should always be plugged into cooling, not heating. If you're in Alaska or Minnesota or somewhere where you're getting sub-zero and you've ordered our heating coil, then that will be plugged into heating. And that will turn on when it gets 3 degrees below your set temperature. All right. Other things to note, over here, you'll notice a lid stay. You should never remove that or take that off. That provides resistance to make sure that this lid will never close on you without a significant amount of force to pull it down. It will take an adult to pull that down and close it. Okay? If you have any questions or you need to reach us, save this QR code. You can always find our website, our setup guide, and all this FAQ through there. And you will have a card here as a reference that has everything that's included, what it's for, and how to use it or how much. Okay? Now, regarding changing your water, I would expect you should change your water every 1 to 3 months with proper maintenance. Your first time, though, typically as people get down the practices of caring for their plunge, it may be sooner. That's okay. Don't get discouraged. Let's figure out what's going on. The common signs that you need to change your water include your water has turned green, it has a funky smell to it, or there's a film layer that's developed on the top. Cloudy water does not necessarily mean unsanitary water. Your water will never look as pristine as it will when a human body has never been in it. Cloudy is okay as long as it's not green, doesn't smell funky, and doesn't have any film layer growing on top. Okay? If you use the skimmer, you'll get out the large sediment, and you can mix up any sand or heavier sediment that might settle to the bottom. The filter will clean the rest. Your ozone and your hydrogen peroxide will sanitize the water and keep it sanitary. Make sure that every couple days you're adding a little bit of hydrogen peroxide. I use a pretty indiscriminate amount. I've got it down to an art. But you have the hydrogen peroxide test strips that will tell you exactly how much parts per million you have. And you want it to be blue. Remember that. Also, I recommend getting some kind of mat on the outside. We sell a bamboo floor mat on our website that the water will go through. And that way, you can reduce your footprint of what you're tracking in and out when you're getting in and out of your fire cold plunge. This will also help you. Another thing, when you fill this up, you're going to fill it up typically with a garden hose. Garden hoses hold stagnant water. So this is a common mistake people make, is just taking the hose right to their fire cold plunge and filling it up right away and putting all of that stagnant water full of bacteria and algae into their tub. What you want to do instead is run the hose out for 30 seconds to a minute to get any stagnant water or anything growing in there out of the hose before you start filling up your water. And in our sanitation kit online, which is sold separately, we also have some nice to have things like a hose filter that can increase your sanitation and the life of your water even longer by filtering the water at the source before it even goes into your plunge. Also in the sanitation kit, if you're interested in checking it out, there's some specialty magnesium-based spa salts that we use specifically that inhibit the growth of cold water green algae that can also aid in the sanitation and life of your water. If you have any questions, we have great customer service. You don't have to stress. You can reach out through our website, through the chat function. You can call us on the phone number on the website, or you can reach us through info@firecoldplunge.com, and we'll be happy to help.